has a lot of things. So who better than our platinum leader, platinum of platinums, mentor of mentors, Dave Daughtry, who has been preparing for many, many years. Many of you know his story. Maybe some of you don't. We do have a YouTube channel. We welcome you to subscribe to the channel and go through some of those videos so you can hear more of the stories. And Mentor Monday, he's going to be inspiring us on how you should be preparing for success. So no matter if you are new, if you are already in a network marketing company, or if you're of our For Life community. Maybe you're still thinking about joining us. Maybe you're watching this video and you are in a network marketing company, and these tips come from one of the top leaders in this industry, and they will be valuable for you in your network marketing company. Whatever your status or your state of mind is, preparation is key for the mindset of a networker. And this man has been doing it for 40 years successfully, with millions of people signed up under his teams, with hundreds of millionaires under his teams. So let me pass this mic on. Take some notes. Make sure you apply everything you learned today. Thank you so much. And with you, Dave Daughtry from San Diego.
Thank you, Claudia. I appreciate the introduction, and thank you for your leadership and the many, many years of working together. Building people, building our community, building our family. That's what this is all about. Today, being Mentor Monday, as you know, and we may have some new people here, we take this time and we cover different topics that have to do with networking. That's what we do. I'm a networker. I've been a networker for 44 years, 45 years, since 1981. And it's been an incredible journey for me. I don't know anything else, honestly. I mean, I had a job one time when I was 16 years old. After that, I've always employed myself. And the reason being was because I heard somebody say one time, and I forget who it was, it just stuck in my head, that we all, during our lives, will make decisions where we can build somebody else's dream by working for them, or working for government, working for agency, or build our own dream, learning to employ ourselves in whatever it is that we want to do. But we have to apply the necessary elements, discipline, all right, the desire, all these indicators, I call them, to build your own dream. And frankly, I believe that's one of the reasons we're here on Earth, is to develop, to grow, to discover. And as we do that, we build our dream. We build our future for ourselves, our family. And so I discovered network marketing back in 1981, and that's all I've done since then. And it's been an amazing journey. Before For Life, I was with 3 companies. All 3 of those companies crashed. And I was having a conversation with someone over the weekend about network marketing. This is a cold conversation, somebody I met. And this is what we're going to be discussing today a little bit, about preparation. Preparation, really, it begins with the mindset. It really begins with, where you are you ready, all right, for change in your life? Because if you're not, you can attend every Mentor Monday, you can attend every convention that we're going to have this week actually. But if you're not ready for change, if you're not ready up here to do what you were not doing previously, because if you want change, you have to do things differently. You've got to start making some changes, all right? And that's why we get together and have these Mentor Mondays. It really is all about change. If you want to be, and I'd say a millionaire, I mean, everybody has their own definition of success, all right? But whether you want to be a millionaire, whether you want to make an extra $500 a month, whether you are really into health and wellness, or even if you have a condition, you're looking for an answer, because we are a health and wellness company. We get into science a lot, talk about health, wellness, and the benefits of our products. All of these things require time, focus, and it really begins with knowledge, all right? Knowledge creates confidence. Confidence creates action. Action creates results. But to gain the knowledge, you got to take the time and you have to learn. But at the same time, this is not the type of business model that you're going to have to go to college for 4 years and get a degree. All right. So you earn while you learn. And I'll say this, the greatest educator, the greatest school there is not a university. It's called experience. If you were going to have heart surgery, and by the way, my sister, last week, she got her heart. She had a heart transplant. She's been waiting for a couple of years now for a new heart. She got a heart transplant last week. If you were going to have a heart transplant, would you want someone that spent 20 years in a class just reading and studying? Or somebody who might have spent 10 years reading and studying, but 10 years practicing in the operating room? I'll take the person that's got practice. All right. So that's your greatest educator, practice. All right. Experience. So that's what it all comes down to. So we get together on these Mentor Mondays and we learn. But what happens after we finish this Mentor Monday, that's what's most important. Taking the things that we learn, applying them, and it's called execution. All right. Putting it into action. So let's talk a little bit about the preparation phase here. I'm a networker, which means I get paid in my career. It's really who I am. I don't even say it's what I do. It's who I am, because it's just a 24/7 type of thing. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. All right. And so, which I'll talk about my story in just a minute that I mentioned earlier yesterday. When I met someone, I did some prospecting just for fun. So if you're going to talk to someone, well, you're going to have to prepare a little bit about what you want to say. If I asked all of you, if I said, you know what, I need you guys to help me. I need you to prepare. You're going to talk. You're going to do next Mentor Monday, and you're going to talk about the art of presenting, or you're going to talk about. I'll tell you what. You're going to talk about Tony Robbins, his success. Talk about Tony Robbins. Most people know Tony Robbins. All right. Well, what are you going to do? I'll bet you right now, if you had to do it, you'd probably be like, I don't know what to say. What would you would prepare. You would go online, look up Tony Robbins, maybe buy a book of his or whatever. You would prepare. Why? Well, one of the reasons why is we don't want to look foolish when it comes time to talk in front of people. We don't even know what we're talking about. The same applies here. If you're going to network and we're going to build for life, we're going to build your community, your team, we have to know what we're saying. So what I did when I came back, when I made my decision and I said, this is what I want to do, because I felt very good with my partner, David Lisenby. I felt very good, very comfortable about the fact that he would take good care of me. He would never fail me. He would make sure that he keeps our company secure and safe and compliant with all the regulatory agencies and continue to expand. And he had the same vision that I had, the same principles and values in business. I was right. It's been 27, I'm in year 28, over 27 years now. I've never been paid one day late. My team has been paid over $3 billion, not million, $billion in 27 years. I got over 220 millionaires, and I don't say this to brag. The point is, you can't get to that point, you can't get to that place without having some preparation and then execution. So we're doing it, we've done it, and we continue to do it. And we continue to invite people on this journey. That's what this is about. So when I made my decision to do this, I went back to my little apartment in El Centro, California. You could look it up, right by the border of Arizona. I was broke, had no money, had no car. I lost everything, you guys, everything. I was starting life over again. So one of the indicators for me was timing. Timing was good. The other indicator, my desire. My desire was strong. I was 38 years old. I'm going to be 66 in a couple of days. So I was 38 years old. I had a girlfriend at the time. She's not my wife, Gabby. She had a car. She had 2 houses. I had nothing to offer. So my desire was strong. There's 2 indicators there. My ability to inspire, I felt was going to be really good because I'm building a story. I'm very disciplined. So I felt that I could inspire people through my work ethic, my willingness to do what most people are not willing to do, right? I'd work hard. I'd talk to people. I would do what I had to do. My desire was strong. My discipline was there. All right. Well, what about and inspire and influence? My ability to influence. Um, I feel like I can be pretty influential. I have no problem talking to people, and I have no problem getting to that point saying, you know what? If you're looking for change, let's do this. And taking that person to a point where they come into the through the door into my community, my team, my family. So the ability to influence, I feel I'm pretty good at that. All right. The next one is uh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Tide, you guys, because I'm doing that at convention. I'm talking about Tide, Tied. T is timing. All right. So the timing has to be there. All right. Oh, tenacity. Are you tenacious? I'm pretty tenacious, although I am very emotional. I'm an emotional person. So when especially if somebody says no to me, that doesn't bother me at all. Not at all. What gets me is when I've spent a lot of time teaching someone, working with someone, helping them get started, and for whatever reason, life can get in the way, things happen, they leave me. It's kind of like a divorce. It hurts. I get, heartbroken. So I'm an emotional person, but I've got pretty thick skin. I'm pretty tenacious. Certainly, I'm not bothered by the law of averages, knowing that when I talk to people, not everybody's ready for my message. So, but I can tell you this, when I do present to someone, because I come from a position of preparation, knowledge, I feel pretty comfortable when I'm talking to somebody about networking, about for life, about transfer factor. All right. But I'm tenacious. All right. The E, all right. We already talked about the I, all right, which is inspire and influence. The E is experience. Okay. If you have, and you know what, when we talk about experience, sometimes I look at experience almost as a thing that could be detrimental, not positive to someone's development in this business because the experience that they got was somewhere else. And it may not have been the greatest, and they may not have been really taught the right way of networking. But if they have experience, that's wonderful. But you know what? I'll take over experience? Desire. If somebody has desire and no experience, that's extremely important to me because I can give you the experience. You just have to have the desire. And the next, execution, the ability to execute, take action. Don't get caught up in analysis paralysis where you want to analyze. Everything has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. All right. And if you execute, you take action, that's what's going to give you the experience. That's the greatest educator there is. And the last one is the D, which is the desire and discipline. If you apply those, and I'm a very disciplined person, very, very disciplined. That's why I believe that I became a pretty good guitar player. I practiced a lot. I was a good athlete. I practiced a lot, so I've got the discipline. So what I'm going to be talking of convention, just so you all know, is that your success is tied directly to you, the Tied. You're the only one that can make that decision. So once you say yes, now you got to prepare your message. So when I came back from Utah, I sat down and took the time. That's when I met David Lisenby. When I made my decision, the exact day was October 20, 1998. That was the day I started my For Life journey. I came home to my little apartment. I sat down and I started writing down notes. What am I going to tell people? And then I practiced in the mirror. And I even practiced, like when I did get my first car, I got a little, actually a friend of mine bought it for me, a little Toyota Corolla, and I crashed it. I only had it for a couple of months. I was in an accident. I drove it around for 6 months, climbing in and out of the passenger side because the driver's side was smashed in. And when I would be driving that car, usually I would go out at night. I didn't want people to see me in the daytime. It was kind of embarrassing. I would practice. I'd be going through my presentation in my head, talking in the mirror, practicing, getting good at talking to people about my company For Life, about my products, the science behind my products, the benefits of my products, and then talking really about the vision, what we're going to do together, building For Life, building our future. And so once I had prepared my message, it's execution time, talking to people. So in preparation, which we're talking about today, once you have that confidence, then you should not be afraid to share with people. Now the story that I want to share, and this I said Anna, I said mall. Gabby and I were at the mall yesterday. I had to go out and get a couple of items because we're leaving in the morning for Utah for the convention. And Gabby went in to use the restroom at a restaurant. And I just sat outside. I was sitting in a chair. And I noticed that the chairs, it was a beautiful day. I live in San Diego, just so those of you who don't know, San Diego's always got beautiful weather. And we're by the beach, you're not too far from the beach. And there's this umbrella over a table and these chairs around it. And I was the only one sitting at my table. Next to the table next to me was a guy sitting there. And I noticed there was a cable going through the chairs and around the table, a cable like a lock. And the chairs were all locked up. And I thought, this is crazy. We live in a time where you got to lock up chairs so people don't steal them. And I made a comment to the guy sitting at the next table. I said, this is crazy that you have to lock up chairs these days so people don't steal them. And the guy says, no, he says, they're usually unlocked, but it's Easter Sunday and there's nobody working here today outside. So they locked them up. I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's how the conversation started. All right. My point, we're creatures of habit. Some habits are natural. Are you left-handed or are you right-handed? What side of the bed do you sleep on? How do you clasp when you clasp your hands? Which thumb is above the other thumb? Mine's that way. Some people do it that way. These are just natural habits. Then there's habits that we force upon ourselves to learn and develop. All right? Hopefully good habits. So for me, I have a habit of networking. It's just engaging in conversation. That's all it is. Conversing. Can you believe that I used to be an introvert? I think I still am in some ways. I'm not the kind of person that just runs around and chit chats with everybody, but I've just gotten comfortable and natural in engaging in conversations. And when I made that comment, the guy at the table next to me, when he said that, he engaged in conversation with me. He goes, are you from around here? And I said, I actually live out towards Alpine in the mountains. And he goes, oh, I know that area. I said, yeah, I'm up in Blossom Valley. I said, how about you? You from around here? He goes, well, I lived in Texas and Colorado, but yeah, I'm living right here in San Diego. And then I said what I like to say. It's a trigger question. What do you do? What kind of work do you do? Right now, he's a driver. He's a delivery driver, but he's also a photographer. And and I said, oh, you photographer? He goes, yeah. Let me show you. And he started showing me some of his work. Beautiful pictures on his cell phone. So he got up out of his seat, came over to where I was, and now we're talking and everything. And that continued. I forgot how it continued. And mountains. We talked about mountains. He goes, oh, you live out towards the mountains. He goes, any good hiking out there? And I said, yeah, in fact, I took my dog, Odin. I have to talk about Odin. I always talk about Odin. I said, took my dog, and I showed him a place that we went to, a really majestic place. And he goes, oh, that's beautiful. So at this point, I feel like I'm talking to a good friend. Now, this is where the preparation comes in, you guys. If I didn't know how to talk about networking, For Life, transfer factor, all of these things, well, I would be stumbling and fumbling and mumbling. And it's okay. If you're starting out and you do that, experience, trust me, I've made a lot of mistakes myself. But now I'm extremely comfortable and I feel I'm pretty good at it, just talking. So that led to, what do I do? I'm a networker. And I said, have you heard of companies like Herbalife? And he goes, yeah, I've heard of Herbalife. Most people have heard of Herbalife, Amway. Is I'm with a company called For Life. Been with them for 27 years. And I love it. And we market a health and wellness product. Now, I carry samples with me, you guys. I carry a fanny pack. So in my fanny pack, I had some Rio Vita. Usually I have Energy Go Sticks, collagen. I got a lot of stuff. But we had just given away some samples a few days ago. And so I gave him Rio Vita. Well, we're talking, and I'm telling him a little bit about transfer factor, For Life, but more than anything, I was telling him about networking. I said, this is what I do. Right now, we're talking. I'm sharing with you, a technology, products with science behind them, a transfer factor. Have you heard of it? He said, no, I never heard of it. I said, well, let me give you a sample. Well, at that point, Gabby comes out. She hears me talking. What does she do? She reaches into her bag and goes, let me give you a sample. I said, I already gave him a sample. So she gave him 2 more Rio Vita. Okay. So you got three little sachets of Rio Vita. She didn't have any Go Sticks either. But the point is, we gave him some samples. We talked about networking. I said, this is it, just like we're doing right now, just talking. Well, he gives me his phone number. His name's Daniel. And when he said his name was Daniel, I said, first thing I said, that was my brother's name, Daniel. And so he gives me his name, and I actually apologize. He gave me his name, and here's what he did. He called me. He called me on his phone so that I would have his number. All right. I've not yet texted him back. I need to do that. Yesterday we were busy doing stuff. I'll be texting him today. I'll be sending him some information. What's my goal? My goal is to get him into our family, our community, and whatever level, and this is a key word, you guys, whatever level of contribution he makes, great. He's welcome. Now, when I say whatever level of contribution, he's already made a contribution. Think about this, you guys. If you take the time to prepare your message, you can talk about our company, For Life, 27 years in business, global company, health and wellness, research company, products based on science. They've got clinical studies. I love their products. You should try them. All right. You talk about the science behind it, the benefits of transfer factors, the immune system. It doesn't have to be the immune system. It could be talking about Presume, taking it for energy, pre-workout, protein, energy, whatever, collagen, anti-aging, whatever you want to talk about. But our company is a research company, talk about the science a bit, and then opportunity. And then the community. We've got this great community of people. We got Facebook, as Claudia said, we've got our YouTube channel. We get together every week. We do a lot of trainings, whatever it is. The point is that when I'm talking with him, with Daniel, what's my goal? To bring him in to the community. But just the fact that I engaged in conversation with someone, the fact that I talked, our conversation led to networking, For Life, transfer factor, however the dots are connected, doesn't matter. You can talk about one thing first and another, but I covered my company, networking, some of the science, a little bit of the community. Didn't get into the community a whole lot, but just that alone is a contribution towards my development. Every time I engage in conversation, every time you engage in conversation, if your desire is strong, if you've got those indicators, timing, tenacity, all right, the ability to influence, to inspire people, execute, take action, all right, be willing to understand that experience is going to happen through execution. Execution equals experience, and that is how you develop. All right. And the D is discipline, desire, and I should also say development. I can even add more D's and add more to each of these letters. But the point is, the level of contribution every time you talk to somebody, it can be minimal or it can be that person turns out to be a platinum in your business and they're doing millions a month of business and you're getting a residual income for the rest of your life because you engaged in conversation with somebody. Now, I say this every now and then, 100%, everybody in my organization, in Gabby's organization, our business for life, which is a lot. I mean, some people say it's over 1 million people that have joined our For Life business around the world, but whatever the number is, the point is this. 100% are people we met since we joined For Life. We didn't have a team of people that came with us. I didn't have a whole bunch of people that I could call and they would just join. I started from scratch. I started cold, just talking to people. But when I found someone using all these things I'm talking about, these indicators, I was able to bring them in and sign them up. Now, let's take Daniel. Let's say that I do get him to join. Well, that's a higher level of contribution, it looks like, because at that point, he'll buy a product. That's a contribution towards my business, my development, our community, our team, our family. And I hope that I can have him on here one day and say, everybody, this is Daniel. And you'll know the story, how I met him at the mall. All right. So Daniel joins. Let's say Daniel opens up his cell phone, and I even told him this. I said, Daniel, my goal as a networker is to work with you and to start sharing our message with people that you know that I don't know. That's how this works. And the great thing about it, the funny thing is that the people you know, I'll probably have more credibility than you. And I was just kind of chuckling when I said that. But it's true because many times strangers, they don't know me. Daniel didn't know me, you see. So I can be who I want to be. They don't know if I've been in For Life for 50 years or 5 days. They don't know. It doesn't matter. It's all up here. It's all in your preparation, you see. And then the execution. When you're out doing it, you get better and better and better and have fun at it. Don't take it seriously. Honestly, if you start taking it real seriously that when people aren't ready and you think it's your fault, man, I can't imagine what it would feel like I'd get depressed, honestly. Have fun with it. If they're not ready, they're not ready. Make it fun. Networking is fun. So what level of contribution Daniel will make, I don't know. But let's say that he does join. Let's say he opens up his circle of influence and starts inviting some people. Now I can start networking with those people. That's what you call a driver. A driver is a person that isn't just prepared to give a message, all right? They're prepared at any moment. As I said earlier, it's a 24/7 business. You never know when you're going to be with someone that you can engage in conversation. So be prepared. Your antennas need to be up regularly. I didn't know that I was going to be sitting at a table, make a comment about cables going through the chairs, the chairs are locked up. And he answers, I look over at him and I make a comment to him and he answers me and tells me, and he's a social guy. He had no problem. He stood up and came over to me. I was going to take a picture and I probably should have, but I thought, I don't need to take a picture. And when I do this, by the way, I'm thinking about tomorrow, Mentor Monday. I take a picture for Mentor Monday and I should have probably done it, but I think you all believe me. All right. His name's Daniel, and I'll do my best to get him on a Mentor Monday so I can introduce you to y'all to him. So, but you never know what level of contribution someone's going to make. Therefore, we don't judge anybody, but we do qualify them. So as I talk to Daniel, one of the things I do in my preparation, as I talk to people, I like to qualify them. Daniel was very social, very friendly. So that means he's got the like factor. Very likable guy. I mean, by the way, he speaks Spanish and English, a little bit of a Spanish accent, perfect English, but I could tell. I even said to him, I said, we were talking, and I can't remember. He said he lived in Texas by the border or something. And I said, también hablo español, which means I also speak Spanish. He goes, oh, really? And so, but he's very social. He's got the like factor, very likable guy, very friendly guy. He seems to be a person who comes from a position of knowledge. When he started showing me his photography and so forth, you could tell that he's passionate about what he does. These are things that I identify as I'm talking to people. And this all may seem complicated. Trust me, it's not. If you practice it, all you do is engage in conversation. It's like playing chess. I'm sure you've all played chess before, or checkers. Your move will depend on the other person's move. Networking's the same way. I don't pull out a script and start reading it to the person. I just talk, engage in conversation. And whatever I talk about many times depends on what they say. You know, it might go towards health and wellness or health challenges, whatever it is. It may go towards making money. I could tell that when I was talking to him, he's done a few different things, considering the fact that he's a driver. He's got a side hustle in photography. Tells me that he's the kind of guy that can do 2 or 3 things. All right. You can just tell he's got that entrepreneurial spirit about him. So yeah, I'd love to get him into the network. So in preparation, there's preparing your message, but there's also preparing your mind. What good does it do to prepare a message and then not take advantage of the time you took, the practice you put into it to prepare that message? So you've got to share with people. All right. And that means you're always prepared. At any moment, something may happen. You might be, I don't know, getting the tire changed on your car, and you're at the discount tire store, and you're sitting there in the lobby waiting, and somebody else is there. You can read a magazine, look in your phone. Most people will be looking on their phones. I don't even think magazines are around these days. They're all digital. They're on their cell phone. All right. Or engage in conversation with someone. I want to encourage you all. Have a conversation. Just say, you can say anything like, you know, beautiful day today. Or you could say, you know, whatever, just like, you know, maybe you got a flat tire and that's why you're getting your car fixed. And you say, you know what, I got a flat tire and I had to get my tire fixed. How about you? You know, whatever. It's not hard to converse with someone and see where the conversation goes. Have fun with it, you know? Carry a sample with you. Carry a Go Sticks. Carry a Rio Vita is one of my favorites because anybody, and Go Sticks, both of them are. Carry a collagen. You know, carry a couple of these little sachets, you know? But if you give something out to someone, please get their phone number. Otherwise, you're just going to be giving product away to people. I mean, it's great. You plant a seed, but somebody else is going to harvest it. You planted it and they harvest it. That's not good for your business. It's good for somebody else's business. And by the way, that happens all the time. I have planted a lot of seeds that other people have harvested. And I've harvested some seeds that others have planted. All right. But I like to carry a couple of samples with me and give them away. And even business cards. I know today a lot of people don't carry business cards. I didn't have a business card on me. And that might have been a good thing. I think it's a good thing for me sometimes because it kind of pushes me to get their phone number, which he gave to me. He called me. I said, here, I'll give you I'll give you my phone number. And rather than him putting me as a contact in his phone, he called me. He said, I'm going to call you. He said, just go ahead and send me your contact. And now you've got my number. So we became instant friends. All right. So it's not just preparing your message. It's preparing your mindset, preparing your attitude. And that might include you guys overcoming a challenge you might have. Maybe you've never networked before. Maybe you look at yourself in the mirror and you think of yourself as a shy, quiet, timid person. I was too. Very shy and quiet and timid. In fact, I was highly intimidated by people. I was always afraid about people making fun of me or making me feel demeaned in some way. Well, I was able to overcome that because of this business. Now, you know, really it doesn't bother me. What bothers me the most, like I said, is spending time and developing a friendship or relationship with someone, a closeness with them, and then having something happen and they leave. I mean, I've had people even die. Last year, Sadiq passed away, one of my platinums. When that happens, it's heartbreaking. It hurts. So, but when it comes to networking, I'm fine. So you need to change. You guys, the only way, and this is probably for me the most frustrating thing, but I'm going to brag for a minute. Forgive me. I do well. All right. I have a six-figure monthly income. That's a lot of money. I've made over $50 million in For Life. It's a lot of money. I've got a beautiful office. This is in my house. I got a big house on a mountain. I got 7 acres here. I got a great life. What's my point? Not to brag. My point is this. The only way these things can happen is through change. By saying, you know what? I'm going to talk to one person every day. I'm going to develop that habit. I'm going to have the discipline necessary to do something that might be hard because I've not done it before. I'll live through it. No big deal. It's just an emotional thing. No one's going to pull out a gun and shoot me because I talked to them. All right. So do things that you didn't do before and do what other people are not willing to do. And honestly, the reality of it all, that's what separates those that have a life of financial abundance and those that do not. What separates them? The ones that do have it are willing to do what the others are not willing to do. And trust me, it's not going out and harming someone or going out and just doing something that's physically impossible for others. No. They developed. They began with a concept or whatever it was, and they developed. And that's why I love this business so much, you guys. It's the only business I know of where you will determine your level. We'll go back to the convention. Your success is tied, T-I-E-D. It's tied to you. You're the one that will decide what level of success you want, not somebody else. You have no boss here. So there's nobody looking over you, telling you what to do, but you have to be willing to use those indicators, and discipline is one of them, to develop these good habits. And then you apply all that, and that's how you change and develop. And one of the reasons why I enjoy working with strangers, by the way, cold people, is because they can't judge me. I mean, today it doesn't matter. I've been with For Life 27 years, but when I first began, the people that criticized me, the people that told me that I was foolish, were my family and even some friends. What are you doing that for, Dave? My dad said, why don't you get a real job? My dad passed away on Valentine's Day this year. He died. But you know what? He was a bronze elite. Had a good income coming in. Still does. All right. Isn't that, my dad passed away, but his check last month was still almost $7,000. Not bad. Goes to my mom, but the point is this. This business is about development. It's about having a starting point. Every single one of you, every person here. I can go down to Cenelia, Anna, I don't know who ABCE is, and A34, and Vicus, all right? All of you, Maria, Marissa, hey Marissa, Rita, every one of you have your starting point. I call it first exposure. You were first exposed to For Life, the science behind our products, the benefits, the community, the team. Maybe this is your first exposure to networking, all right? We all, me too. My first exposure from Dr. Calvin McCausland, when I got the letter in the mail talking about the science behind transfer factor, how it might benefit me with my Crohn's disease. Isn't it amazing that it was a disease that caused someone to send me the product, which caused me to look at it and start taking it, which led to the opportunity? That's the whole cycle. That's how it began with me. You all have your story, how it all happened. Somewhere, somehow, with somebody. All right, that was first exposure. Now the point is, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Develop, grow, have fun, build a business, enjoy. All right. It's not perfect, but I'll tell you what, I think it's the most perfect business there is for someone that wants to have all the benefits of owning their own business. And this is one of the great things about preparation, by the way. You don't have to prepare a lot. Even though you're going to own your own business, if you're just starting, every one of us owns our own business. I do, you do. It's your 4Life ID number. That's your distributorship. It's your business. But you don't have to deal with all of the regular business stuff that I hate, by the way. I don't have to do any administration. I don't have any employees. I don't have any to maintain inventories. I don't have to worry about what's going on all around the world and all the different offices. And I don't have to deal with any of that stuff, which means the only preparation I have to worry about is my messaging and my networking in my head, my mindset. Maybe I have to overcome a couple of barriers, possibly, because I'm just not used to talking to people all the time. It's okay. Get used to it. No problem. All right? It's what we do. We're networkers. So preparation begins with your messaging. Second, it's your mindset. Getting out there, having fun, talking to people. And I'll finish by saying this, and I want to kind of go into any Q&A, questions and answers. We'll finish up today. If you really think about it, how many people do you talk to in a day, a week? We as human beings are social. You cannot live a life I shouldn't say you cannot. I guess you could, but the average human being couldn't do it. Living alone, never talking to anybody, being just a complete recluse. If you want to see what can happen, watch the movie I Am Legend with Will Smith, where he's like the only person on earth. Humanity has kind of just died. He starts to go crazy. He starts to think that mannequins are alive. You see, we're social people. We have to social. In fact, they say that if you want to live a long life, in the later years of life, make sure that you're always being social with people. Go to social events, go to a bingo party, whatever, Well, that's what networking is. You just have to make it a habit that when you are talking to someone, because if you think about it every day, we talk to people. Every week, we talk to a lot of people. Every month, a lot of people we talk to. Well, how many of those people could be missed opportunities because we didn't engage in networking? Just talking to them. Get comfortable with it. Maybe, and you know what? If you're talking to people that you know, family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, and so forth, a great thing could be tell them about your new side hustle, the new business that you're starting up. Tell them about it. And be exciting when you talk about it. Use your skills, social skills. If they criticize you, ask yourself this question. Do this in your head, all right? I mean, I don't tell the people this that criticize me, but when I look at them, I wouldn't want to be like them anyhow. I look at them and their level of success and what they've done, what they've accomplished, or in business, because many times, what do they know about business? They've never ran a business before. They've got a job, and they're criticizing me for starting a new business. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But be prepared if it does. If somebody criticizes you, so what? All right? In fact, I kind of look at it as something that gives me a bit more of that desire, the D. It's like, you know what? I like proving people wrong. If you think that I'm not going to do this, in fact, I would tell people that when I was recruiting. and I'm still recruiting, but not like I was in the early days. I tell people, I'm going to climb this mountain of success. I'm going to do it with you or without you. Now, I don't tell strangers that, obviously. And if I was networking with one of you, Maria or Vilma or Rexy, if any of you brought a prospect, to the table and I was talking to them, I'm not going to tell them that I'm going to build this with or without you. But when I personally am sponsoring someone and we've already had that conversation and they're trying to decide what to do, I throw that out there now and then, because I am. Your decision to do this with me is not going to determine whether I do it. I'm doing it with or without you. And I think that exudes from your messaging without even having to say it, because people see your determination. They see, your focus. So you really sometimes don't have to even say that. I'm going to do it with or without you. I think that they realize that. In fact, quick story, and then we'll open it up. I had been in For Life. I joined October 20th. Actually, it was probably maybe 2 weeks after. So we're probably going into the early November, where one of my friends, his name was Hector Bermudez, he showed up at my apartment and he said, he would always call me brother. He said, brother, I want to show you something. I got something for you. And I said, what? He goes, it's out back in the alley. Walk back there. It's a car. It's a Toyota Corolla. And he gave it to me. He gave me the keys. He says, I took out some money from my 401k. It's like a pension. I took it out and I got this for you. And I cried. I couldn't believe it. And I said, why? He said, because I see how focused you are, how determined you are. I know you're going to be very successful at what you're doing. Every time I come over here, you got the headset plastered to your head, talking to somebody on the phone. And I can just see, I can tell you're going to be successful. And he says, and I know one day I might need help and you'll help me. And he was right. I did help him. So he paid $5,000 for the Toyota Corolla out of his pension, his 401k, gave it to me. I crashed it on Christmas morning. I had it for a while, but I drove it around smashed for over 6 months. I had to drive it around. The passenger side was all smashed in. But the point is this. People can see, they can tell that you're different. What's my point? Be different. It's okay. That's how you instigate change. Influence yourself. Be different. Trust me, when you start to do that, you become this person that the better version of yourself that you see yourself as, living that life of abundance, being a multimillionaire. Look, success doesn't happen by chance. All right? It happens by choice. You have to make that decision. Now, there is an element of mystery to this business, and I love it. I think it's great. You might talk to someone who talks to someone that you don't even know. And that person that you don't even know goes out and builds an empire in For Life, because all those indicators in Tide, they're ready for. Timing is great. They're tenacious. They know how to inspire and influence. Maybe they've got some experience. They know the importance of execution, action. They've got the desire and discipline. It's all there. And they go out and build an empire. And all of a sudden you go, my gosh, I've got this business doing 1.5 million. It happens. Now the question is, what will you do? If you're not prepared, you can have $1 billion in your downline doing business. Doesn't do you any good unless you go out and take action. I'm going to show you guys something. I apologize. We were going to try to do a Q&A, but I want to show you something. This is what happens when you're not prepared. All right? This is going to blow your guys' mind. Let me share this real quick. 1 second. I need to open up the For Life website, and I'm going to share my screen. This is the opposite of preparation. But this particular individual is in a pretty good position if they decide they want to take advantage of it. All right. Appreciate your patience, everybody. 1 second here. This is kind of off the cuff, so takes me a minute to look up a couple of things. Okay, here we go. All right. Share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? I'm sure you
Yes, we
can.
Yes, Dave.
Okay. So check this out. I'm going to go to Account Center, Reports, Target Rank, and March. This is someone who is totally unprepared. Claudia, can you help me?
For Anthony, where are we reading?
Okay, so this is a target rank, all right, for this individual. So if we go like this, what's her, let me just go to gold, all right, gold. Can you see what her organizational volume is? It's right here.
What? 170, 1724285, 100 and, oh, 1 million. Wow.
Right, keep going,
1
1 million.
1,724,285.
Life points.
Wow.
That's over $2 million. Now, if you take a look at this, let's go up to builder. Okay, a builder is just 3 people. Claudia, did they qualify as, go back to March, builder last month?
No, they did not even qualify as a builder.
Now, their third person did how many life points? Right here at the bottom.
Is that 59?
So they were 41 LP away from just being a builder.
Not even a builder.
Not even a builder. That's what I call the element of mystery. I'm not going to try to figure it out. They're leaving. If they tied their business to them and just applied a few of these indicators we're talking about, they'd be making $100,000 a month. Would you guys like $100,000 a month? Yeah. Don't try to figure it out, you guys. I don't try. Just look, stay focused on what we're doing, what you're doing, all right? And you just continue to grow. But that's the element of mystery I'm talking about. Somebody sponsors somebody, and down below, it just starts to take off. But you know what? The harder you work, the luckier you get. You could say that person got lucky. They had to talk to someone. That's how they sponsored that person that's doing. And by the way, just so you know, in all fairness, that 1.7 million, she died. The one that's not even a builder, she passed away last month. The daughter took the business. On the other 1.7 million you saw, the son took the business. They're totally unprepared. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If somebody passed away and handed you a business that's doing $2 million every month, what would you do? What would you do? Do you think that you would at least have enough motivation to start doing something? Have a bit of desire and discipline and develop good habits and so forth? The money's on the table. The crazy thing is, you still got to do what we do to make the money. That's called development, you see? So that's why I hate lotteries. I hate it. Lotteries shouldn't even exist. Why? Because if you win the lottery, did you know most people end up dead? Because all the money they won, they squander and they blow it. And then they're depressed afterwards because they were having this wonderful life and it's gone after a few years and they get depressed and they kill themselves. But when you develop, guess what? You bring value to the world, value to people, but value to yourself. And that's called purpose. You have a purposeful life. And that's what brings real happiness and success, really. So I hate lotteries. So, and by the way, you don't want to win a lottery anyways. When you go out and develop something and build it, you're proud of yourself for doing it. The skills you develop are invaluable. You can lose money, you can lose health, a lot of things in life you can lose. We lost freedom during COVID. We're all quarantined, all kinds of things you can lose. Nobody can take your developmental skills. You develop those, they're yours forever, you see. And that's what makes this business so great. So we've only got 2 minutes left, you guys. Does anybody have anything they want to throw out there? Any questions, anything? Do you send product information or opportunity information? It just depends, Marissa. Depends on where the conversation is going. I think most people gravitate towards product to start with because of the nature of our company. We're a health and wellness company. So we talk about, the science behind transfer factor. And it's easy to talk with somebody about something they probably have never heard of, because that means the door opens and you can introduce them to it. It's just kind of natural. And you're going to find that you talk to 100 people, you're lucky if one has heard of transfer factor or the science behind our products. So it's like playing chess. Like I said, my move depends on your move. I like talking about opportunity, honestly. I love it because I feel that's my strength. I'm really good at science too, but I just like people. I want everybody to be millionaires. I want all you guys to be multimillionaires, but you have to have the desire too. Product information.
Someone's at your Ring Video doorbell.
Sorry, you guys. Let's see here. Make decisions. Success is tied directly to you. Absolute desire. Okay. Thanks for putting that in there, you guys. So it's 10 o'clock. The hour is up. I appreciate everybody here. Vilma, let's close with this. I see your last message here. You can do testimonials on business, but no video. I assume you're talking about right now. If you'd like to share a quick testimonial, we'd love to hear it. I'm looking for Vilma here.
Vilma, me too. I'm looking for her.
There she is. Unmute.
Vilma always has great.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dave, for your Mentor Monday. I'm just going to make it quick.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
In the company. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear? The main reason I'm here in 4Life for the last 10 years because the amazing product of 4Life. But the other thing that really drives me to be in here staying for 10 years because this product turned my life around. And then lately I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis, and my doctor wanted me to have a total knee replacement with the help of 4Life. I'm not gonna do that. I'm canceling my surgery. And also at the same time, since I've been in business for the last 10 years, even though I'm on disability, I'm receiving a residual income from 4Life. So where can you get something like that you're home and thinking of what's going to happen if I'm on disability, but 4Life is giving me an additional income of, the one that I did 10 years ago. So it's still getting it, paying for my products, paying for everything. So getting additional more than 1,000 a month is a great income here in United States. So I don't have to worry how much I'm gonna get for my disability because I'm getting another residual income. So that's the only I can contribute about our business is the residual income. I'm not done yet because I'm still doing this as part-time. I'm not doing this full-time. So I'm gonna encourage everyone to just continue. I heard everything what you said, Dave, that you have already a thick skin. And before I was like, every time that people will tell me, oh no, I got like discouraged, I got depressed for days. But now if I hear something like that, that makes me more stronger. Because
Nice.
I believe in what I do, and I believe on 4Life. 4Life never late on giving me my commission.
Amen.
They
Thanks,
pay every
Vilma.
day, they pay monthly. And now quarterly, I was able to get into the leadership pool.
Yeah,
So thank you so much
yeah,
for that.
yeah. The
Job,
pool came
Vilma.
out, to my understanding, it came out to about $140 a share.
Oh wow.
Nice.
See, just imagine I have 12 shares
Good.
of that.
So yeah,
So
about 140 a share. And so if you're a diamond, yeah, you
I'm
guys all
diamond
know how
elite.
to read the pool, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So there's a new report. So when you go to your reports, whether it's your cell phone or you're logged in, and you look at the top report, leadership bonus, the first half, which is one share as a diamond, all right? So 140, it's paid quarterly, 3 months, 140 times three, but you can double it as long as you had a 5% increase this quarter. That's January, February, and March of 26 over the first quarter last year. You know what? My family, between me, Gabby, and our kids, do you know what that leadership pool came to? $11,000.
Wow. Good job.
Pretty cool. I told my wife, it's funny, I told her yesterday on Easter Sunday, I said, hey, sweetie, I said, you get $11,000. What do you want to do? But the point is that this leadership pool is awesome, you guys, but get out and build. Get to diamond. At least you'll get a share and you can double it. But bronzes and bronze elites are getting 6 shares, 5 and 6 shares. Now you're talking $1,400 of added income a month. So you can see how $11,000 is just all added up within my family. So with that, let's go ahead and finish. Claudia, your hand's up. I'll
I
pass it
want to
back to you,
just,
Claudia. You can close it
yeah,
out.
I'm going to just give something about convention, but I wanted to kind of finish up with something that Dave said, and this is really very. This is my 5 cents. Remember, I was hand trained by Dave, and so it's not also
You
just
guys, I
talking.
apologize, Claudia. I've got to jump off. I've got an
Go.
inspector here.
Yes. So
We had some work done. So I love you guys. Thank you.
Dave. So it's not only how many times you talk to people, but also how people see you. So my advice, and this is something that I learned from Dave, is how do people see you? Do they see you as a networker? Do they know you have a network marketing business? Do they know that you are involved with health and wellness? So I'll give you a 1-minute story from yesterday. I'm at my friend's house spending Easter, and these 2 friends that are in front of me were having coffee at the end of the dinner. They've never bought from me. In fact, the first time I met them 4 years ago, what do you do? When I met them, I said, oh, I'm in network marketing. Right away, they said, oh, we're not into any of that. Please don't try and sell us into any of that. So they cut me so fast that I said, oh, don't worry. I actually love building internationally, because I didn't know what else to say. They cut me off so bad, and they were new friends. Anyway, I never really asked them anymore. Maybe one of them I gave a gift one time of reflection for her husband, something, but I never, because they cut me off so bad. However, here's my point. They always see I'm consistent and constant in my business. So yesterday we're sitting at the table, and my 2 young friends that said, no, never talk to me about network marketing. We're talking about convention, which is tomorrow. And I'm saying, oh, I'm leaving tomorrow for convention, da, da, da. And their aunt, who is a little bit older, she's my age, because the young ones are 30 and the aunt is my age. She's like, what kind of business do you do? Just like Dave says. So I didn't even have to go into what. I'm just saying, oh, I'm going to convention and da, da, da. I'm not trying to recruit anybody in that table. And the lady says, so here's the important part. So the lady says, what kind of business do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm in network marketing, and I'm with a supplement company that is, the top in the world. And the question she did to me was, can you make money doing that kind of business? And I said, absolutely. Would you like me to tell you more? Now, here's the part that I want you to listen to this part. My 2 friends who told me never to offer them, then for 4 years, they have seen my consistency. They know this is what I do. They know this is what I live off. They know that this is my full-time job. Now they respect me and they respect my career. They know that this is my business. And so they actually said, oh, And you actually should talk to Claudia. She is very serious about her business. So do you understand what happened? The girl 4 years ago said, no, she's never bought from me, but now she respects what I do. She actually backs me up with her aunt. Talk a little bit. I say, you know what? It's Easter. It's not the time to talk. Why don't we exchange numbers? And then she says, I'm very interested because I'm a nurse. I retired and I'm looking for something to do now that I retired. Isn't that amazing? So please, everybody, it's not just talking. It's just talking and making sure that people see you as the professional person that you are, that this is your business. Like Vilma says, even if you have a second income or a second job or second anything, make sure that everybody respects what we do, like that they respect you as a networker. But for people to respect you as a networker, you need to respect yourself as a networker. You need to make sure that your brand is out there. You need to make sure that people know that you are networking and that you're open for business, that you're open for referrals, that you're open to receive if they have something to give you. Because if you don't tell them, or if you close the doors, or if you're too shy, too embarrassed, too guilty, whatever you want to say, then how do they back you up or refer you into it? So that was my 5 cents. Make sure that you really are. That's what Dave told me one day. How do people see you? When you go into a room, do people know what kind of business you're in? Okay, so that's from my great mentor. Now, convention is tomorrow, which means no more meetings. Oh, sorry, no more. No, we do have meetings. Tomorrow, we do have Good Health and Solutions. Our spotlight member for this week is Kawinder Samra. We choose one member a week. Kawinder is going to be spotlighted the whole week. So make sure you send her a message. Say, hey, you got the spotlight for this week. We want to do that with everyone. But also make sure tomorrow you don't miss, for the daytime people, the ones in Africa, it might be too late, but it's going to be saved. Jillian is going to continue the talk on peptides. And oh my goodness, you cannot even imagine the presentation she did. She's doing such a professional presentation. So everything about peptides, remember, peptides is transfer factor. We have been taking peptides for 28 years, since whatever time you've been with for life, but people don't know how to talk about it. So she's going to be teaching us how you can tell people, oh, you're taking peptides. You know, I'm in a peptide company 28 years ago. Let me talk to you about it. So that's tomorrow for Good Health. Next, No Life Legacy on Wednesday, No Asia Call on Thursday. And that's it for me. So see you at convention. For those that are coming, those that are not going to come, we'll miss you, but we'll be sending a lot of pictures, a lot of Facebook Lives, and a lot of Facebook material so that you can reshare. And as soon as we know, we actually do know the 3 products now that they're launching. Make sure you are talking about it. What Gabriela said is that when they launched them, they're not, I don't know, this comes from Gabriela. When they launch them, only people at convention will be able to get them. They're not going to be officially launched until June or July. That's what Gabby told me. So if you have a friend, make sure you're connected with that person. If you need to order some product, call a friend, give them your credit card so they can buy stuff from you, because that's allowed or permitted. But because I don't know if as soon as convention is done, you'll be able to get the 3 products that they're launching. And yes, 3, a tea, a green drink, and Max, the Pro Max. So we are doing great with those 3. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me open up the mics, and thank you for being here. We really are thankful that you took the time to be here. So Rexy, open that mic for me. Thank you so much. Asked all to unmute. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dave.
Thank you,
Manito.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Claudia.
Enjoy convention.
See you at
Enjoy, everyone.
convention. See you at convention. Thank
We
you.
send some
Bye-bye.
pictures.